All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thank you guys for tuning in for a really special interview. I have Blake Donan, who is one of the co-owners of VaultBOX, which is kind of have quite a bit of buzz out in the numismatic scene these days. It's a brand new curated product, unlike we have ever seen before. There have been attempts to kind of duplicate what VaultBOX is going to be doing with this premiere release coming up next week, but they've fallen short. So I want everyone to say hello to Blake. And Blake, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the crowd?
Yeah, how's it going? Thanks for having me on, Sean. I so I'm one of the co-owners, myself and Lee Minshall of Minshall Trading and their group over there. We are both been in the collectible space for a long time. Lee Minshall has been one of the pioneers for the modern and collectible coin industry for a long time. I have been into. My father was an auctioneer, which originally got me started in being involved with auctions and collectibles. It started with cars and watches and transitioned to coins and currency. And I like art and things like that as well. So kind of been all in the collectible space.
Outstanding. So you've had quite a bit of just enough of being around in various sectors of collectibles that you know what you're doing, and why don't you tell a little bit about VaultBOX, as in the company, how you guys got started.
Sure. Yeah. So it's interesting. I got back into it, really started the idea with sports cards. I was doing a lot of sports card stuff, especially during the pandemic, participating in a lot of breaks. And I'm a big NBA guy and Formula One. So I started collecting a lot of cards again, and I was opening a lot of Formula One boxes, and I was frustrated because some of the boxes get into the thousands of dollars and constantly we're ending up with very little. And then those big boxes of 5 rows where you have all the junk cards, and it's like, well, what do I do with this now, kind of thing. And I was just, I've been in the coin industry for quite a while, and I have 2 young kids. I have a 6-year-old son and a 3.5-year-old daughter, and they're kind of interested in coins, but they're really interested in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And my daughter really likes dolls, so there's not really the equivalent of sports cards. But so I was trying to. I often go to a lot of coin shows, and I look around the room, and there's not a ton of youth, and I think that we need the youth in order to keep this industry going, which is a great industry. But we needed something to kind of get them interested and excited. So that was kind of, I was kind of thinking about, well, I really like the adventure of sports cards and the chase of sports cards. Maybe we can kind of do something like that with coins, and it'd be a little bit easier of a transition for the people that might collect sports cards or comics or video games, that kind of thing. And that's kind of how VaultBOX started. I brought it to my partner, Lee Minshall, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And he's really an outside the box thinker. And, we talked about it for a while and kind of came up with a really, really rough game plan, and it kind of got refined over time. And we ended up with VaultBOX.
That's awesome. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it started out as one of those cocktail napkin affairs, and then
100%.
turned into something that a lot of people are very receptive to. There's a lot of excitement and buzz because based off of the initial, just the conceptual art that you have on your website and things like that, it's polished, unlike we've seen on any other type of similar product, whether it's sports cards or coin otherwise. Before we went on the air, you had mentioned that you used to peruse eBay and had seen these different types of, I guess, mystery rolls. Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things in our industry is, I guess not unique to our industry, is really any industry, is that there are people that try and take advantage of people. And, I would often see, Morgan Silver Dollar, unsearched Morgan Silver Dollar roll. And one end shows a Carson City reverse and the other end shows an 1889 obverse. So, because of course they're trying to imply that it's a roll of 1889 CC Carson City, City silver dollars, which would be very valuable. But they happen to have 100 original rolls and they get restocks every month somehow, even though they haven't made these rolls in forever. And by the way, they used to come in bags, not in rolls like that. And it's frustrating because, I know those things now because I'm in the industry, but I wouldn't have necessarily known that. And a lot of people buy them and they get taken advantage of. And it's not unique to just rolls. I mean, there's lots of scenarios like this that it happens, and it's unfortunate because, it's a bad look for our industry as a whole. I mean, and to be fair, even within the dealer community, this has been something that's been brought up when we've talked about VaultBOX within the dealer community is, hey, is this kind of thing going to happen? We don't want a bad image for our industry, and we really took a lot of different steps to try and be as transparent and get in front of this stuff as possible so that we could show why this is not that, why it's different. Having the full list of every single coin that's included in it, having NGC, grade it separately, seal it separately so that we have no control over what goes in what box. Talking about, the algorithm that was used to pack where we had common, uncommon, and rare. So we had 3 groups and we used one from each group and why we did that. Because it was important to us that if somebody said, hey, well, what about this, that we could be open and honest and talk about what we did to prevent that or why that wasn't the case or why that might have been the case or whatever. That was really important. So we went through great detail on the website describing the whole process because, again, I'm a skeptic myself by nature. I can understand, your viewers or other people being skeptical too. It's natural.
So I'm sure you, which is great because you prefaced that you had reached out to the community to gain a little bit more understanding if this was a product that would be something good for the hobby, if it's sustainable, and you received a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And I'm sure talking to dealers and other people, they want to tell you exactly why it's not going to work.
Sure.
So part of the challenge is trying to figure out, okay, how can we buck the trend and prove everybody wrong?
Right.
And obviously it took a while to to come up to where we're at. I mean, we're literally days before the release.
Yeah.
You mentioned in kind of a little nutshell about what to expect, but let's assume that we have a lot of new folks that know nothing about VaultBOX. When they buy one of these, what do they expect?
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, each series will be different. We started with Modern American Eagles. So the current series number 1 is 800 boxes. There's 3 coins in each box. And again, you can go onto our website, vaultbox.com, look at series information. There's a full list. We started with Modern American Eagles because, first of all, it covers all of the precious metals, silver, gold, platinum, and palladium. And when new collectors come into the industry, they often start with either silver eagles or silver dollars. Those are like the 2 main things that they start with, but especially the silver eagles, because that's what the mint puts out now. It's, of this generation. Sometimes people get it, and give it to their kids or for holidays or so on and so forth. So that's why we started with that. There's every single coin is graded by NGCX, which is, NGC's new 10-point grading scale. We chose that because we wanted to make it easy for new people to understand. When you talk to somebody who knows nothing about coins and you say, hey, our grading scale is out of 70, people give you this weird look, almost like when you talk to your dog and they kind of like, huh?
Yeah, they tilt their head. They're like, whoa, why isn't it graded out of 100?
Right.
As it should sound,
Yeah, because, we learn, look, my 6-year-old in his, in his classes, when he gets a grade, it's out of 10 or out of 100. He gets 9 out of 10. He knows what that means.
Yeah.
People understand this even without being in any kind of collectible. They know what this kind of 10-point scale is. But when you say MS65, well, they assume that's what, like a D average? But
Yeah,
that's like
it's like a very, very average coin there.
Right.
It's not
that's a gem,
Yeah.
And so, NGCX, hopefully, especially because right now sports cards, video games, comics are all done using a 10-point scale. Hopefully, because a lot of people that collect will collect multiple, genres of items, different categories of items. Hopefully, they'll be able to make the transition into coins where it's one less obstacle in the way. They already know how this kind of works. So every coin will be graded either 9.9 or 10 in this particular series, because Modern American Eagles, and that would be equivalent to today's MS69 or MS70 for the traditional numismatist. So you can see on the website the common, uncommon, and rare, what are in each group. There's 800 coins in each group. And we did that so that when the coins were being packaged, it was basically, we wanted to make sure that the value got dispersed somewhat evenly. It's completely random within the groups. There's almost, I want to say it's around 270 unique line items, meaning, if there's a 1986 mint state 9.9, that'd be one item. A 1986 mint state 10 would be a second line item, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So, there's really a large variety within each category. And again, we wanted to try and choose things that would show people that just because they look the same doesn't mean that they have the same kind of desirability, maybe value, rarity. For example, a common date, let's say mint state 9.9 10th ounce gold eagle might be a $250 coin. But if it's a 1999 W with an unfinished proof die, it's a $3,000 coin maybe.
Yeah.
And why is that coin so much more desirable? And really try and, show that kind of stuff so that it might get people interested so they can kind of do their own discovery, which was important. I think that's part of the fun. And we tried to, for example, the red cores. So every coin will either be in a red core or a black core. And for those of you that don't know what the cores are, that's, the filling, basically the plastic around the coin itself. A lot of your viewers probably are familiar with that, but the red cores will instantly tell people, hey, this is a little more rare of a coin. So those will all be in category 3, but not every category 3 or the rare category is necessarily a red core.
Okay, well, you answered my question. I was going to ask, well, in the rare slot or the category 3 slot, are all the coins red, or there's a combination of black and red? And you address that.
There's about 150, I think, red cores within Series 1.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So for all the math magicians out there, they could kind of
7%
numbers as far as, all that stuff. So this is actually a 2-part question, and it's one that came up quite often that I've seen not only on my channel, because I had done a video a few days ago.
Yep.
Just really throwing down some questions about what you want to hear the owner say about these, and how did you source the coins so that way people understand are they making a lot of money, or what's their margin? And did you buy them already graded, or did you have to cross over some already graded coins during your acquisition phase of the product?
Sure. Yeah, so combination of both. We had some coins that were already graded in the regular MS69 holders. They might have been, brown labels, or they might have even been PCGS coins as possible. And they were crossed over or reholdered using our own limited edition Series 1 VaultBOX label. There were some dates that it's possible we had, raw coins that we sent in for grading. But what you have to understand is, just because you send in, 500 coins for grading, we don't know if we're going to get 20 mint state 10s or we're going to get 150 mint state 10s, right? Like it's not. And by the way, if you end up with all, mint state 9.9, it might not be necessarily a good deal for us either. So, as far as sending in raw coins, there's definitely some that we send in raw. And it's possible that, we kind of knew ahead of time we need to fill these kind of categories because we, of course, we wrote out like we need this many of this coin and this many of this coin because we wanted to have enough variety so it wasn't boring. And if we ended up with, we said, hey, we need 20 of this mint state 9.9, and we ended up that 30 graded, well, then we held back 10 for future releases or something else that we might do.
Yeah.
And then, we had stuff that we reholdered, stuff that we graded raw. I think those were the two main questions that you had. And I want to kind of touch on the profitability part, like, because I think it's also a fair question.
Yeah.
So of course, we're definitely a business that, we're in business to make money. However, today I can tell you in short term, that's not necessarily our only goal. And it's not our main goal, to be completely frank with you. Series 1 product, we have less than 10% margin. And when I say margin, I'm talking about just actual coin and grading costs. I'm not talking about, the boxes that we had made. I'm not talking about the marketing, stuff that we spent money on, the website development, none of that cost. If we included all that, we would be far in the red. But just the actual product cost itself, we have less than 10% margin. And we did that by design. Like, this is important that the value is going back into the box. And, I think it's going to be that way for quite a while. And not that, when the time frame is up, that the value won't be in the box. We want to make sure that the value is always in the box. Eventually, we won't be able to sustain at less than 10%, but we're also not going to be at 50%. So it's really important to us that we're building a long-term brand that people can count on and say, hey, they're transparent, they're honest, they provide value in the boxes, they're really trying to go long, not a one and done and, never see them again kind of thing.
So is it true, and I don't want to make this a cringe moment for you, Blake, is it true that you guys don't know how the pack out is and NGC did all the work on their end and there's no serial numbers, barcodes, or things that anybody can scan to see what the makeup of that box is?
Yeah, so 100% true. I actually have a couple boxes here, and I don't know how well it'll show, but you'll see here that's a QR code just to go to our website. I don't know the focus, but you'll see it's sealed here. There's no barcodes anywhere on this box. No numbers anywhere on this box. NGC seals the product, and it's actually the inner box only without the sleeve itself. But it's sealed with the holograms here on each side. Mm-hmm. And then also right here underneath the box on the red actual holder box, there's tape that goes all the way across, holographic tamper-proof tape on both sides. So there's 4 seals on this box. Once we have those, we put the outer sleeve on it, just the black sleeve, and we do the shrink wrap as well. But we went to great lengths to do that. And by the way, NGC has been a great asset to us in helping us do this because they understand that it's important for the hobby to bring in youth, and they understood and really believed in the vision to try and make this as transparent as possible and make sure that it's completely random so that people can have equal opportunity to get the coins that they're looking for. And it wasn't easy, by the way, to come up with how do we block this? How do we block that? Logistically, it was a challenge.
Yeah. No, that's I mean, the way that it was executed based on what you've just shown everyone, it probably couldn't have worked out any more perfectly that way because there's going to be folks that will buy a VaultBOX. They may not necessarily crack it, if you know what I mean. Sure. They try and take advantage of an arbitrage and resell it on eBay. Sure. And, they'll show, oh, yeah, this has got all its seals and, it's good to go. And obviously, if you see a seal that's been cut or cracked or tampered with, obviously that's going to be apparent. So I'm very interested because you used NGC. You're taking advantage of their brand new 10-point grading scale, which I think as of either last month or this month is live, and you're taking
January 1.
How did that conversation come to be? Like, did you reach out to NGC's president and say, "Hey, we want to do this. Can you do it?"
Sure. Yeah. So I actually, the original conversation I was not involved in. It was my partner, Lee Minshall, speaking with one of the executives over at NGC about, hey, this is kind of our idea. We had brought up VaultBOX to them before we thought about using a different kind of grading scale. And, I think they were having a conversation about, yeah, I think this could be exciting. And let's talk about some of the possible obstacles and, ways that might make it a little easier. And I think that's how it came about. At least that's how I was told the story of originally NGCX, coming up with a 10-point scale. As soon as I heard it, I thought, well, that's amazing. That'll make it much easier to transition people that don't know anything about coins. Because what I found out early when I went and talked to some local card stores, when I went around and said, hey, what do you think of this idea? And I would get into, yeah, everything would be graded MS69 or MS70. I would get the dog look, the tilt thing again going on from the card guys. Like, what does that mean? And that was a whole fun conversation trying to explain what a mint state 69 is, so yeah.
That's
and
that's crazy.
okay.
That's how fragmented they call it the Sheldon scale, which is from 1 to 70. But it's not universally known, unlike the 10-point grading scale. So that must be kind of a relief for you, because it takes the onus of your company handling the packaging and all that. That's going to put a lot more doubt to the people that are interested or want to know more, is that, oh, they package their own product, therefore they know what's in there.
Of course.
So this next question may not come very easily, but there are folks that are concerned that they're not even going to get close to the $595 purchase price.
Sure.
Seeing as how you don't really know what the pack out is, do you care to kind of maybe touch on what the lowest or the average might be on the VaultBOX?
Yeah. No, again, it's funny. There was a gentleman, his name's David, I think Schwager or Schwagner. Sorry if I mispronounced his name, but he very quickly, once we went live on the website, he broke down the distribution list and went through it, actually itemized every single coin, added up all the NGC values, then did some more math and said, well, the NGC values, and let's take this percentage and figure if the cost was actually this. And I mean, he really broke it down well.
Yeah.
And, I actually reached out to him too. I said, I'm really impressed as to how quickly you did that and how accurate it really was. And it was funny because he broke, I don't remember the exact value that he came up with as far as like when he added up the total, what he assumed our cost was, but it was so close. But what was funny is it left us with like a 5% margin or something. And immediately everyone said, there's no way they would do that. It's not possible. Like there's something you're missing something, or you're adding something up wrong or whatever, because I mean, who could work on a 5% margin, And like I said, we're definitely below 10%. And it was very accurate. And what he also did, and it's in his article, I think he ended up publishing it actually on Coin Week as well, is he said, well, based on the three groups, this would be the lowest estimated value. And I think he came in around $270-ish, which is probably fairly accurate as far as our current instant offer amount. If you get the worst possible combination, of coins, our current instant offer amount, which may not be the retail market either. The retail market might be higher, might be lower, I don't know. But our instant offer amount is around $270 today.
So I guess it would be a fair assumption to think that the instant offer is more akin to what maybe a coin dealer would pay, because they go by like gray sheet and wholesale bid and all this other stuff. It would be unfair if a company, say, came in and bought it at full retail. It just doesn't make any sense, for the service, especially if you're going to do an instant payout.
Sure.
Where you could sell it on eBay, sure, go right ahead and make more money, but you got to take into account shipping, fees. There's the length of time. You have to wait 7 days for your auction to
Photography,
end, and
customer
or if
service.
absolutely. So there's a lot of benefits, that could,
Yeah,
because the auction world's kind of funny too, because guess what? You could, do a return too. So
sure.
that's another thing they have to worry about. And
Yeah,
with precious metals, sometimes there are periods of time where the actual prices can be volatile. It jump up
sure.
$2 an ounce or drop $2 an ounce, and everybody's kind of at arms with that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, just to kind of touch on that really quick, Sean. I mean,
sure,
I
yeah,
think that as people, so by the way, once you open the package and you get the coins on the back of the coins, there's a QR code. It'll take you to our website where you type in the barcode number and the grade, and it'll show you some stats on the coin itself. And then it'll ask you if you want to see our instant offer amount. You create an account and it shows you the instant offer amount. I think that people will find that it's very fair pricing and very strong, actually, in a lot of cases. And this was all done on purpose because, first of all, for the new person who knows nothing about coins and they open up this package, maybe they don't know what to do with it. Maybe they've never listed a coin for sale on eBay or don't want to deal with it. And in the card world, that goes in that 5-row box and you get a big junk box and it goes there, and you probably always plan on doing something with it, but you never do. And I have stacks and stacks of those boxes, by the way, which I refuse to throw away, but I'm not going to do anything with it.
And I can tell you for sure, it's really hard to get rid of those too,
It
because
is.
it's so bulky and there's a lot of it. So
Yep. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll give them to
no
kids and stuff like that, but we wanted to make it so that, hey, the person that just doesn't want to deal with it, either because they don't want to or they can't or they don't know how, that they could instantly just literally be able to click a button, instant offer. They send us the coin, we pay them out, and keep it simple. And if they want to sell it elsewhere first, no problem. Try it first, no problem. We're going to continue to, I know, for example, when we originally did some of the instant offer amounts, we've already adjusted them because the gold market went up so much. We want to make sure that this is not going to be one of those scenarios where people, again, they come to our site, they try and sell us back something and they feel taken advantage of. That's not going to build a good brand, a good base, a good following. That's not how you build a company long term, which is what we're trying to do long term.
And me personally, I wouldn't expect that, because that would be asinine. You wouldn't, your company wouldn't make any money,
Sure.
by doing that. That's not part of the philosophy of being a business owner, anyways.
100%.
So, if you went to a coin shop, they would tell you, yeah, go ahead and sell it, whatever. This is why I'm going to pay you.
Yeah.
But you have to weigh in the benefits of doing so. You get your money instantly. You don't have to worry about returns. There's a period of time you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's cool that you offer that. And I'm sure someone hit that big chase piece in the VaultBOX that you could just as easily sell that back to you. And,
Yeah, I mean, the 2020, V75, we're paying $23,000 right now is the instant offer amount.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a big coin. And there's coins in between too. I mean, there's, I think it's a 91 half eagle or 1990 half eagle that we're paying $12,000 for. I mean, there's some big money coins in there.
Yeah, I saw the list.
Yeah,
it's impressive because I'm not going to say the company, but I had done a rip on a few of these mystery repack graded coin boxes. By the way, they sell sports cards. That's what they do.
right.
They have this whole entire lineup of repacks that they sell, and they're like one of the big retailers of sports cards and things like that. So I opened up 3 boxes, and it was like $95 a box or something. This was like probably 2 years ago. And I hit one of their chase items, but it doesn't even recoup the value of what I paid for that box.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, this is really a stinker, for anyone that gets into it. And they look up and down the very short list, might I add, of about 10 chase coins that barely hit the box price or higher than that. I think the highest was like $300. But all the other stuff, it made you feel really bad that you even paid for it in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm glad with VaultBOX. It feels premium, very well thought out. It's high quality, and I would see no reason not to at least try it. Um, and I'm
And I
trying
want
to
to say, we understand too that $600, is not a small amount of money that we're asking people to purchase this box. Like we are very conscious of that. And not to cut you off, I know you're gonna have other questions too, but my 6-year-old is very excited, right? He's, Daddy, oh, VaultBOX and this and that, and he talks to me about it all the time, and it's great.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think about, man, like most people are not going to buy their kid a $600 box, right? Like their 6-year-old, which is very understandable. And by the way, I probably wouldn't either, so eventually I would love to do $100 box. I'd love to do a $200 box. I'd also love to do a $1,000 box or a $2,000 box. We want to try and make sure that there's something for everybody. And that could be different, genres of coins, different price points, different amount of coins. It is very hard because it's very hard to do a multiple coin $100 box graded. It is very difficult just because of the fees that go into grading. And, when you're dealing with precious metal coins and stuff, I mean, there's a Basel value, but it is something that we want to do because I think that how great would that be to, even for somebody who is an older collector that says, hey, my grandkids, are into cards and I really love coins. I would love for them to like coins. Let me give them this box for their birthday or a holiday or whatever. Or, hey, I don't know anything about coins and this seems kind of interesting. And, this is a price point that I could try at and it's, okay.
If you elected sometime in the future, after through all of your successes, of course, because I see nothing but great things here, that you want to do that $100 box to hit on a specific price point demographic. It might just be one coin in that box, but you have more boxes, like a higher volume of it. But yeah, what you're doing is fantastic. It seems much more flexible. The $600 price point, I think, is like the perfect kind of like level. Anything $1,000 and over might seem too expensive for a lot of people. $100 for like a premier type of product might seem too cheap. What am I going to get for $100? Just trying to figure out what else, because you've hit on everything. Someone did mention that every coin has their respective grading number right on the slab label, and someone had asked, well, is there a way to register all the coins that come in on your website and people can see, this coins is what left over? And I don't think this is something that's, being that it's only like 800 boxes, I don't see it dragging out. As a matter of fact, I see this thing selling out pretty quickly, if not first day, by day 2.
So I'll admit I cheated a little, right? I read some of the comments ahead of time as well.
Okay.
I get it also I read a lot of the other forums as well. And the reason I do that is not actually, of course, to cheat. It's because your guys' feedback is important, and the good feedback is just as important as the bad. Like the bad feedback gives us an opportunity, right? It gives us a punch list as a company to address some of the issues that come up, because these are natural. Like people are going to ask these questions, and to ignore them is ridiculous, right? And so it gives us an opportunity. It doesn't mean we can solve every single one of them, because that's just not possible. But it gives us an opportunity to take that into consideration as we're moving forward, or as we're making decisions about, hey, this person mentioned this, and I think it's a valid point, or somebody came up with a great idea. What you're talking about here is like a registry set, right? So the answer is today, no, we don't have an opportunity for them to list it to the public. But what they can do is when they go to the site and they enter in the number, look up the coin and see the value. Say they don't want to sell it to us right now, which is totally fine. They can click add to my collection, and they will be able to see, they can log into to the website and see all of the coins in their collection. It'll also show the updated pricing as we change pricing over time. and they could still click, sell to us or check out instant offer at any given time. And they'll be able to see the totals of everything in there. So it will allow them to assemble a collection that only they themselves can see. And maybe, in the future, we do something similar to a registry set, or something that allows them to, display it to the public or offer it elsewhere. I don't know. I think it's a great idea. Today, the short answer is no. Today, we cannot show it to the public, but I think it's a great idea for the future to look into.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Me personally, I don't think it's necessary to have that. As a way of, kind of like a decision bargaining type of deal. Whether they sold through half of their vault boxes and the big coin's already been pulled. So what incentivizes me to buy one? And, considering that this is a limited release, like there's not a lot of them. And again, man, with the buzz surrounding this, it's more favorable than not.
Sure.
I think for a lot of the older collectors, it's a little bit misunderstood.
Sure.
For the newer collectors, they relate to it because maybe they've done the sports card thing or whatever. But it's something that we haven't seen, but we've been overdue for. And I'm glad like now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
So that way people can gain an understanding of what a truly thought out, curated product looks like today, where you have the people that spearhead it. They have the pulse on the community, and it's less about the dollars and cents. They really want to build a name brand. And then, where your company makes money, Blake, is going to be, we have these 3 or 4 different VaultBOX, products, and, it's going to be more volume based, and that's how you're going to make your money, rather than, we bought these coins for $20. Now we're selling them for $200.
Sure.
It's like you're going to be no different than the sports card community, or maybe perhaps that guy on eBay selling, CC rolls. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think for the sports card community in particular, so the one difference between the sports card community and probably why it's been around forever is that it's also, there's a sense of passion that goes into sports, which is something that we're trying to figure out how to overcome, I guess, in a sense, especially for a new collector. For example, I'm a big NBA fan, so I have my NBA team that, and I'm almost embarrassed to say it in public, but I'm a big Clipper fan.
You are? Okay.
Los Angeles are usually all about the Lakers, but I'm a big Clipper fan. And so, when I'm opening basketball cards, even though the Clippers don't have one player that actually could have, I guess, a really desirable card, so to speak, when I get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and stuff like that, I still get excited about it because I'm passionate about the Clippers, or Formula One. I'm a big Red Bull Max Verstappen fan, so he happened to win last year, but even when he wasn't necessarily number one, if I got his card, I was excited about it because I love Red Bull and I love, Formula One and Max Verstappen. So it's something that we need to try and figure out, like, how do we kind of tap into that a little bit? And, when we try to choose the coins that we're going into the series and in future series as well, is we wanted to show some of the cool variances so that maybe something that I'm excited about might be totally different than maybe you're excited about, and we try to do things like the enhanced, reverse proofs or the reverse proofs, or, different kinds of finishes and different denominations and metal types, and really try and mix it up so that it would be more like an adventure. When I open Pokemon packs with my son, he doesn't know anything about dollars. Like, he's 6 years old. He doesn't know $5 to him is the same as $20. And when I ask him, how much do you think that costs? And he says $100 billion. And it's, something that costs $200. It's all the same difference, right? He opens it because it's part of the adventure, the fun of, hey, I got a rare holo. I got a, reverse hologram Charizard or some name that I can't pronounce.
They're more enamored. If they don't play the game, they're more enamored with the artwork. And
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so for him, it's fun either way. And so for me, I bought the $60 box card, box of Pokemon cards or whatever. for him, he's not thinking, did I get this dollar amount or whatever? And either am I, to be frank, because I'm thinking like, man, look at this experience I'm having that I'm sharing with my son. He's excited about it, which makes me excited about it. And it's part of the experience, almost like when you vacation. It's like, if when you go to that hotel and you think I paid this amount, how much does it cost them? Well, of course it doesn't equal out. Like, that's just not how it works. It's different in our industry a little bit, which is understandable, but it's also part of the experience. It's part of the fun. If you're the disciplined, very like, hey, I only collect this particular type of coin and this grade and this kind of thing. Just like with cards, you're going to be better off. Go to eBay, find the specific coin that you want and buy that single. But if you like the kind of the experience and the adventure and a little bit of kind of fun, this will be something that we think that you're going to enjoy because it's going to give you variety.
Yeah. Well, speaking of joy, this is actually one of our viewer questions. I've never heard of this. Maybe you could clarify on it. From Bjorn Bergstrom. I heard there was a prize for the first person to put together a VaultBOX Silver Eagle set in 9.9. Is that true? I've never.
So,
I mean, that'd be cool, but I haven't heard of that.
We have talked about a lot of stuff internally about how to, come up with some other fun, interactive things to do. We haven't necessarily rolled out anything specific like that. We have discussed internally about maybe over a couple series, we, come up with something for the first person to assemble some kind of set or, to get different things and put it together. I mean, it's an interesting idea. I think logistically there's probably a lot to it, but, it's something that we definitely should look into more. I think we just kind of need to figure out how that would work and make sure that, we're doing everything the way we're supposed to.
Well, it's fine. There could be in the future a just specifically Silver Eagle.
Sure. Yeah,
release.
maybe.
And then you could kind of build upon the possible, kind of like prize pool thing where someone, that would include everybody. Points.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be cool. And
Earl asked, does the $600 price tag include shipping?
So there is a $19.95 shipping, handling, and insurance charge, and it's priority mail with signature every package.
Gotcha. And it's maximum 2 per household, or is it 2 per person per household? Because you might have like maybe 2 people in the same under the same roof.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
I would say probably per household, like.
That's the idea in theory is that, and here's the real reason behind that is that we want as many people as possible who want to experience it. Look, I am very familiar with bots and with that kind of stuff because I like a lot of hype-ish type products and I know how this kind of goes. And, we hope that that's not necessarily what happens. It'll be probably fairly difficult to regulate, especially in the beginning. And, it's something that we'll hopefully address along the way. So the idea was 2 per household. But we understand that sometimes people have roommates, sometimes they have, there's a lot of things that happen. And so, we're hoping to get it as many hands as possible. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can't prevent a guy from saying, ordering 2 for their house and then order 2 to go to their business and so on.
If people want to beat the system, people will figure out how to beat the system. That's just how it always works in everything.
That's how it goes. Yeah. The U.S. Mint, for every time they have a, blockbuster release,
Yep.
they're not immune either to bots and things.
Sure.
And here's one from Rick Ryan, which I thought was kind of outlandish, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you anyways. These boxes could easily be scanned with a metal detector to identify gold coins. How do we know that they are not juicing special boxes in this manner? So
sure. I'm not that familiar with metal detectors. If it can tell you, read through the plastic and tell you different types, I don't really know. Look, I couldn't answer if that's possible or not, to be perfectly honest. I don't know any way to do it.
Your metal detector better be very expensive, with
Yes.
a discriminator. And in
Yeah.
addition, there's palladium and platinum, which
Absolutely.
they're
And it has
they're
to go through
pretty
thick
valuable too.
plastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
I just thought I'd ask
Sure.
because that's
Yeah.
on there. How many series do you foresee going forward? How will you be able to sustain interest if Series 1 doesn't meet sale expectations? And that's from Adam Jam.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think
This
that's,
is valid.
yeah, totally valid. I think that it will, of course, be continually something that we're going to have to put a lot of thought into. And, again, we started with Modern American Eagles. We will probably Series 2 follow up with some other kind of modern product for Series 2. Again, we're trying to ease into it. But some of the future series we want to do is I can't wait to do a silver dollar series where maybe
Oh,
the
yeah.
hit mat is
Yeah.
an $18.95, like an $18.95 proof dollar, or you have some high grade 89 cc's or 93 s's, or I think that'll be an amazing series. And by the way, it doesn't have to just be Morgan silver dollars. It could be trade dollars. It could be seeded dollars. It can and bust dollar. The beauty of coins, and maybe even one of the overwhelming points
Yeah.
of numismatics, is how many coins there are. And by the way, it doesn't always have to be US coins either. We could do foreign. We could do.
Well, I was thinking it's funny you brought that up because another one that's pretty big is actually foreign bullion, like
Yep.
Britannias, Libertads. I mean, that
Sure.
could be you
The
could do
new
like
mint
a
stuff, or
yeah.
oh yeah, I think there's lots of stuff. I was telling my son, wouldn't it be cool, because he really likes these. I think they're Ibero Americana train series. It's like a railroad series. I was like, what if we did a planes, trains, and automobiles series? Like, how cool would that be? Maybe that's the $100 box, and then
Could
all
be.
the coins have a plane, a train, or an automobile on it, or something like that. And we talked about ancients a little bit, which is a little more sophisticated, but really cool. We could do stuff with the 12 Caesars. We could do stuff. I mean, we could do, ancient Greek. We can do all kinds of stuff, but we got to kind of ease into it, because if it's too niche or too sophisticated, it might turn people off. And by the
Yeah.
way, with that being said, to be fair, some people might be turned off if it's overly simplified, right? So it's going to be something that we constantly have to get feedback from you guys, get feedback from other customers, kind of come up with ideas and see what people are liking or not liking, and then keep that going, because that is one of the tricks, is how do you make it interesting? And tricks is a terrible word. I'm sure social media will love that word, but that's one of the things to overcome, is to figure out how do you keep it different so that it's not doing the same thing over and over. So it'll just be a learning and a growing, thing that's going to be ongoing for us. And all of the feedback that we get from you guys, once Series 1 goes on sale and sells through, and we kind of get through some of the initial, hiccups and stuff, we're definitely going to be surveying customers and asking them, give us your good and bad feedback, and talk about different stuff, about price points and categories, and value, and website experience, and and we hope to learn from that. That's the only reason we put that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I did notice, and this isn't from any specific viewer, but I got an email from a company called Finest Known, and they're pitching VaultBOX. So
Sure.
do you currently have a collaboration with some of the bigger companies, I guess, to sell these in quantity rather than just the Max 2?
Yeah. So what we did was we did work with a few, I guess you would call them distributors or other retailers. We gave them a very limited quantity. Finest Known is one of them. We have a great relationship with them, and we appreciate the support. They've been very supportive from the beginning, and we gave them a certain allocation. Now, with that being said, just so everybody knows, they paid exactly what you as the consumer would pay. They paid full $5.95 retail pricing on every single box. And again, the idea was that it's important for us to make strategic relationships to help spread the word, to help get it out there, so that more people will see it, more people will experience it. And these, strategic partners can help us to do that. We also did, a collaboration with PWCC. We did an exclusive pre-sale with them, which, I mean, they blew through their allocation real quick.
Wow.
We really are trying to get it out there so that more people know about it, the better, and we really try to choose those people very carefully, because again, they're representing our brand. Of course, they have their own brands as well, but if they're changing the overall experience, how we intended it to be, by doing stuff that is not in the way that we intended it to be, ultimately you're going to see it as VaultBOX did something that that you as the customer don't care for. So
Exactly. That's all part of the full transparency thing. I noticed it. I figure I'd bring it up because other people do receive those emails.
sure.
But that's more of you investing and putting skin in the game into
Sure.
something that you believe in.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, you wouldn't do that.
And we need help. I mean, we need help. We need to spread the word. We need to get it out there so that people will be interested. I mean, and that's the truth of it, is we need help from strategic partners to get the word out there and to help represent the brand. And, just like we do with these distributors, is like, we are very two-way. What's good for us is good for them. What's good for you is the customer, and you guys have a good experience is good for us as the brand. This can't be one-sided to grow long-term. It won't work.
Yeah. Just to forewarn everybody, these other companies that have aligned with Blake and VaultBOX, okay, just because they buy it at $5.95 doesn't mean that's what they're going to sell it for. It could be $7.95, $8.95. So a little word of caution, but that's also setting the table for the marketplace as well.
We have, I won't go into too much detail with that, but we have addressed that with each of them and tried to minimize that wherever possible. Because again, it changes the overall experience.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to go into too much detail, but we take that into consideration.
Yeah, they'd say, hey, don't get too crazy on them. We're trying to, build this, and that would be ultimately not a good look.
Yeah.
So no, that's good. So we've addressed the purchase limit, which is 2 per household. Just to reiterate, because there are a number of people that are asking, well, my roommate friend wants to order 2, and I want to order 2 also.
Right.
I'm like, no, it's 2 per address, regardless of who lives there. So yeah, I mean those were kind of the big questions, Blake, that people were wondering. A lot of it was value based.
Sure.
Like, the lowest dollar value bad box. You said 270. No, that's not the average. Just wanted to make that clear. That's just if the sun, stars, and moon were perfectly aligned and you happen to get the worst box.
Right. The worst possible combination of coins.
Yeah, I don't want people to hear what you said earlier in the video and say, oh, the average is 270.
Yeah.
No, that's not what was said. So talk a little bit before we kind of close things out here, Blake, about release date, what to expect, because I think folks that were interested, they had to put their email in. I guess you sent out a notification. Go ahead and clear that up for us.
Yeah. So, we've been gathering, names so that we can keep in touch with people that are interested. It does release on the 25th at 9 a.m. Pacific on our site, vaultbox.com. You can definitely go register ahead of time and create an account if you haven't already. We will be sending out another email to people that are signed up via our list within the next couple of days, just reiterating kind of what we talked about here. We expect it will sell out really fast, is what I'm assuming, just based on the number of inquiries that we're getting. And, again, moving forward, this is going to be something that we're going to be taking into consideration, how many boxes and so on and so forth. And, obviously it takes a tremendous amount of capital too, in order to do this. So, we take that into consideration while we're figuring out how many boxes, how many coins, what price point, and making sure that we can provide, a good experience. That's going to be the important part. So 9 a.m. on Wednesday, the 25th, we expect to sell out really quick. We hope to see you guys there, and keep with the feedback. Give us feedback. We want to hear it. We appreciate the support, the interest. That was the main reason I reached out to you in the beginning. And when you did your initial video, it wasn't necessarily that you were saying, yes, I'm 100% all about it and this and that. You weren't poo-pooing it either, but you were giving an honest opinion and feedback. And I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity for us to talk about some of this stuff, because this is what we're looking for, is a fair shake, right? And so that now it's on us to show you that we're going to do what we say we're going to do, and that, give you that experience that we think that we're going to give you. And we're hoping that you guys love it and tell us, stuff that we could do better, so that we could grow and make this something that you look forward to, that you're excited about, and share with your friends and family.
I can tell you what, I'm trying to kind of like reserve my my feelings about, screaming up and down and all that, but this is probably the most excited I've ever been about a coin release in quite some time. And that's going for all the US Mint stuff and Canadian Mint. And boy, I've loved me some US Mint and Canadian Mint stuff. But like I said, it was only a matter of time. I think this is a landmark thing. I would expect others to kind of follow suit, as it should, if something's successful, might as well follow.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm going to get me one, bar that my computer doesn't regurgitate and,
right.
get website freezing issues,
Right.
things like that. But I wish you the best of luck. We'll talk again,
Awesome.
maybe before the next release, and
Sure.
could kind of see and discuss things that went right, anything that went wrong, and again, it's a pleasure, Blake, and I want to thank you for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it too, and hope you have a good weekend.
Yeah, I know. We were trying to keep the video under 5 minutes. We ran a little long, but
it happens. Some say I'm a little long-winded, I guess.
Hey, you and me both.
Yeah.
I had someone that said, "Yeah, I usually skip the first 6 minutes of your video."
I saw that. People can be harsh.
Really?
Yeah,
that's like the most important stuff is in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah.
But have a great weekend. And to everyone watching, you guys have a great weekend too. And hopefully, we're going to see you on Wednesday, the 25th, for one of these boxes, because I'm going to be there. Rest assured. And I'm going to open it on video when I do get it. So
great.
Let's roll.
Let's do it. Thanks,
all right.
man.
You guys take care.